F. Alexander's associates, Z. Dolan, Rubinstein and D.B. arrive and fawn over Alex. Dolan wishes that Alex looked more tired and beaten down, and this offends Alex, who slips back into his slang again. Alex grows increasingly offended by the men treating him like a means toward their political end. Alex set off on a rant during which he uses a large amount of drug slang, and F. Alexander suddenly seems to get a crazed gleam in his eyes. Dolan grabs Alex's arm and the men bring him to an apartment in the city. Before they leave, they ask Alex if he is responsible for F. Alexander's wife's death. Alex replies that he has paid for his sins and then begins to feel sick. Alex lies down and falls asleep. When he awakes, he hears classic music coming from another room and begins to feel sick again. He tries to go outside but finds that he is locked into the room he is. He bangs on the walls and begs them to turn off the music. He stumbles around the room and begs for God to help him. On the floor, Alex finds 2 pamphlets. One of the pamphlets reads, "Death to the government," and the second reads, "Open the window to fresh air, fresh ideas, a new way of living." He sees this as a sign to jump from the window. Alex prays to God to forgive the world for ruining him and then jumps. The fall does not kill Alex as he intended, but he does become severely wounded and is unable to get up off the ground. He thinks that F. Alexander's associates meant to kill him for their politics. Alex slips into unconsciousness and wakes up a week later in the hospital. Alex is covered in bandages and missing several teeth. He drifts in and out of consciousness as doctors tend to him. One day he wakes up to see F. Alexander and his associates telling him that he served liberty well. They show him newspaper headlines castigating the governor among other officials, and Alex tries to yell at them but cannot speak through his broken mouth. Alex's parents visit him and say that Joe has returned to his hometown after being beaten by police in the street. They offer to let Alex come back home and apologize for turning him out. Alex orders them away and says that if he comes back, things will have to abide by his rules from now on. Once he is alone with his thoughts, Alex realizes that he isn't experiencing nausea when he thinks violent thoughts anymore. He asks the nurse if something has been done to his head and she answers vaguely. Eventually, a doctor informs him that he has been cured of his nausea by deep hypnopedia. Some time later, the Minister of the Interior visits Alex accompanied by photographers and reporters. He apologizes to Alex and asserts that the government never meant him any harm. He also says that Alex is now cured and they have set up a job for him when he is released from the hospital. F. Alexander has been imprisoned for Alex's protection. The minister tells Alex that he should think of him as a friend. Before leaving, the minister gifts Alex with a large stereo which he uses to listen to Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. Alex is released from the hospital a short while later. In the final chapter, he sits with his new drugs, Len, Rick and Bully at the Korova. Alex and the others try to figure out what to do with their night, and Alex begins to think that he has tired of the routine of theft and violence. Alex feels the hallucinations kick in and punches another patron in the stomach before leading his drugs out into the street. the droogs come upon an old man. Alex tells Bully to beat him up. They then go to the Duke of New York, where they bump into the same women that Alex met there in the first chapter. Alex turns them down this time. Eventually, though, he agrees to buy them drinks, and as he is getting his money clip out, a newspaper clipping falls from his pocket. On the clipping is a picture of a baby. The droogs get hold of it and make fun of Alex for being soft. Alex rips the picture up and chastises the group, much to their confusion. He tells them they are evil for taking advantage of the helpless. Alex leaves the bar alone and feels off. He relates that he doesn't enjoy listening to classical symphonies anymore, but now only listens to operatic German love songs. Alex bumps into Pete and learns that Pete has since married and put the life of a droog behind him. Now he and his wife, Georgina, are managing to scrape by on their pooled incomes. Alex is amazed that Pete has grown up so much. He leaves him and goes to a cafe where he sits to think about his life. Alex, now 18 years old, wonders what is in his future and thinks about all of the great composers who had already done so much by the time they were his age. Alex leaves the cafe and pictures himself married with a son of his own. He likes the idea. Alex feels that this is what he sees as being grown up, and that youth is just a wind-up toy that constantly runs into obstacles. Alex realizes that he is no longer young.